Hello there, it's Friday, which means it's time once again for the best movie podcast ever, the only movie podcast to offer objective and hyperbole-free discussion. I'm back on my game about every movie in the known universe. I am your host, the podcaster with no name, Konrad, and with me as always, winter is coming, and so is he, it's Anthony James!
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Hello, Konrad, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I feel like I should, or I say I should, you should, edit in a kind of sound effect of applause when I read your name there. It was kind of like a game show host introducing a contestant, like, come on down!
Yeah, that was fantastic.
To talk about Batman and Robin. That's what we're here for.
But look, there's nothing better to talk about, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, guys, I'm still in my makeshift studio here, so not as well lit as Konrad. Looking lovely over there, Konrad, as ever.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I've got several lights on me.
yeah. Never a bad angle for Konrad, but for me, it's very makeshift at the minute, and we'll get back up and running very soon, guys. Anyway, Konrad, how was your week? Tell me in general. Are you over that old SARS-CoV-2, whatever it's called?
Yeah, bird flu. I'm over the bird flu. I got through it with the help of vaccinations and good old-fashioned clean living. That's what did it for me.
Clean living. Yeah.
Clean living. Yeah, that'll fix what ails you, and also several vaccinations. But But yeah, no, it's behind me now. You can probably still hear it in my voice a little bit. And when I'm in bed and I breathe like out through my mouth, I can hear like a rattle in my throat, which is always like, that's not good. That shouldn't be doing that.
That's not good. It's detached in some way.
Yeah, there's something loose inside of me now that's just gonna probably stay that way for the foreseeable future. I think we'll see. Maybe it'll sort itself out, probably.
yeah.
That's one of those things that's like, maybe I should go to the doctor, but
It sounds like the setup of a Seinfeld episode for me. So many, like 2 or 3 different Seinfeld episodes start with Jerry just driving his car and he hears a random rattle in the car, and that's like the start of the whole episode. So that's what you are now. You're a Seinfeld episode, but the rattle is not in the car.
I hope so. I hope so. That's I don't end up. Actually, how does Jerry's car end up? Like, does he ever replace it? I can't remember.
It depends. If he goes to Puddy, who is the honest 8-ball. He wears the 8-ball jacket. He's if he goes there, he's the honest mechanic. He'll fix it for you. The other mechanic he goes to, not so much. He'll tell him there's something wrong which isn't, and charge him a whole load of money. So don't go to that one. Don't go to that one.
Yeah, well, in this metaphor, I'll not go to the doctor who's dishonest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I'll distinguish them, to be honest. Well, if I find one wearing an 8-ball jacket, I'll know immediately that that's the doctor for me.
That's it.
Okay, well, without further ado, we've done our Jerry Seinfeld bit now. We've done the COVID bit. Preamble's finished. I've decided that this is a new thing I'm going to do.
I love it.
I'm just going to be like, you've enjoyed that bit for long enough. Let's move on to the next bit. So let's talk about some gosh darn movies.
Let's do it.
Movies. We're here to talk about them once again. You know the deal. You're here. You've probably been here before, and if not, this is the deal, and welcome to it. The year is 1997. We were in 1995 last week, and now it's 1997. And Anthony
Watch out, Mary McKillop Primary School in Narre Warren. Anthony's about.
I don't understand that reference.
Anthony's popping in.
I see.
He's hit the school. They'll never know. It's sort of
I
like,
don't know.
It's like a stranger coming into town in a Western. I blew into that primary school.
Oh, yeah, the man with no name. Yeah. Wait, that's my name on this podcast. You can't have that. You have to come up with a different mysterious nickname for you. I don't know what I was doing in 1997. Probably just fucking around, to be honest.
Existing, kicking cans down the road.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
better in our day, Konrad.
The kids these days, they don't know they're born. That's what I say. Anthony and I are dressed up now. It may not look it, but we've got on our finest outfits because, Anthony, we're about to attend a funeral, and that is the funeral of Batman, because we're here today to talk about Joel Schumacher's final entry in his run with the Batman series, Batman character, which was 1997's Batman and Robin, and both commercially and artistically, this would be an enormous failure and would shelve the Caped Crusader for 8 years, which, let me tell you, as someone who was 10 when this came out. I probably didn't see it when it came out, though. I probably saw it a bit later. But that 8 years felt like a long fucking time when I was a teenager.
I can imagine that, actually, because when I first started watching these movies, I was probably like 7 or 8, so it would have been 99, 98. So they already would have been out. I was probably seeing them on TV. So even by that point, it felt like forever until 2003 when Batman Begins. Was it 2003 or 2005? 2005.
2005 was Batman Begins. I remember there being a sort of teaser trailer for one of the Scooby-Doo movies that began with a silhouette that looked like Batman, and the Danny Elfman music played, and it turned out to be Scooby-Doo with his ears up. And I was like, you fucking dog. Playing with my heart is what you're doing. It is weird, that, though, because like when I think of it now, like I'll watch... I don't know, like Mad Max Fury Road, I think came out in 2014. That was 8 years ago. And I'll be like, oh, Mad Max Fury Road came out like a year ago. And now I'll look and it'll be like, nope, that was 8 years ago. And I know like it's a very like boomer ass thing to say, like, oh, make the most of your time because it'll fly by. But it is like, it feels a lot slower when you're living it as a child than it does when you're an adult.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. When I thought back about that and thought this came out in 1997, I was thinking, geez, maybe some people at the time were thinking when Batman Begins was being slated as being made, they were thinking, not another reboot, you know?
Probably. Yeah, there were definitely people like our age and that had been like, fucking, can they make something new instead of Batman? Whereas I was there as like a 16-year-old being like, yes, finally. Like,
yeah. I know what you mean. Obviously we'll get on to Batman Begins soon enough, but that shift is very massive. This is definitely, I think you toned it correctly saying this is the funeral of Batman, because Batman actually didn't appear in this film, actually. Bruce Wayne definitely wasn't in it. I don't know who the hell this guy is, but it's not Bruce Wayne.
My god.
This guy
is a fucking charlatan is what he is. So I mean, there's no other way to put it, really. This is a movie about butts, about arses, and about
nipples,
jokes, and about plays on words and puns that don't really make very much sense.
Why is Batman in this walking around? I know he was a little bit in the last one, but even more so, why is he walking around like he's inside, like, you know, Michelangelo's David? Like, why is he inside a sculpted version of a naked man?
It's so bad. It's so bad, the Batsuit in this. They're all kind of bad, but there's like, when you compare this to, you know, the most recent Batman, definitely, where it's like an armored trench coat, and the Christopher Nolan ones where it's like a ninja outfit, essentially. Like, there's just no function to this whatsoever. And in it, to its credit, Batman and Robin is a movie that is much maligned. That famously George Clooney would say when after this movie came out and he'd done the press junket for it and he could stop pretending like it was a good movie. He would famously say if someone came up to him and told him that they'd seen this movie, he would give them the cost of the ticket as a form of apology. Which I don't know if he ever actually did that, but it made for a very good quote about. I'm going to say right now, I don't actually think this is that noticeably worse than Batman Forever.
You're right.
I think it's more in a lot of ways. It's just more. Like all the things that Joel Schumacher was kind of toying with in Batman Forever, he just cranked those knobs right up and was like, let's make this incredibly camp and incredibly stupid in a lot of ways that were actually quite funny, but only occasionally funny. I think that's
let me say this, right? Like Batman Returns was Tim Burton being given the license to make it as Burton-y as he wanted, because he proved in the first one that he could do it, even though it was a bit watered down.
They gave him the keys for that one.
They gave him the keys. Why did Warner Brothers give Schumacher the keys after Batman Forever?
It's a good question, and I bet I would love to have been in the sort of test screenings for the Warner Brothers like executives for this movie when, you know, you're opening to a Batman movie. The Tim Burton one's very gothic, these gothic fairy tales about Penguin, or, you know, this kind of noirish thing in the first one with the Joker set up. And it, like Batman Forever, it opens with an action sequence of, you know, the Two-Face robbing a bank. This one, it immediately opens with a joke and then shots of men's arses as they get ready to fight crime. And it just... I imagine being in the room, having seen the Batman series like become this you know, very, very valuable intellectual property, and then seeing what it's become. Like, is this the tone we're going for, Joel? And Then Mr. Freeze shows up, and holy smokes! I'm going to say
hockey.
this.
Why are they hockey players?
Hockey. I don't mind that. The hockey players, at least it's thematic. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Mighty Ducks was massive at the time.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They wanted to capture that sweet, sweet Mighty Ducks money, and this was the only way they could think to do it. Now, No, that's not true. I was going to say I like Arnold Schwarzenegger in this. I don't. He's awful in this. But he's still one of the best characters in this movie, which is not saying much.
Well, that's what I meant. That's what I meant last week when I said that they learnt their lesson from Two-Face, because they actually did put a somewhat compelling backstory into this character. Not at the beginning. He was just out of nowhere at the beginning. And when I was watching it with Ema, she did laugh and say, "Oh my god, they're just doing Two-Face again." Because funny enough, she was a massive Burton fan, and she's a big superhero fan now too. But when she was growing up, she only watched the Batmans that Burton did because she was a Burton fan. So she had never seen these two before, and so that was a wild trip. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's a tonal shift. I expect for someone who hasn't seen these before and only seen the Burton ones. But you are right. He does have a meaningful character arc, and it's funny actually. He's in many ways is actually like the opposite of Two-Face, because he has a good character arc, which Two-Face doesn't have. Mm-hmm. But the thing that made Two-Face an okay villain, or like kind of kept his head above water as a character, was Tommy Lee Jones's performance. Mm-hmm. Whereas this is kind of the opposite, where the writing and the performance of Mr. Freeze is so bad that the thing that's keeping his head above water is the good character arc. Because like the first thing he says, this is something I have to keep coming back to when we talk about this movie. He only talks in puns. That's all he ever talks in. Which I could forgive if the puns were good. But the first thing he says is, in this universe, there's only one absolute. Everything freezes. Which A, isn't true, and B, I don't understand what it means. Like, what does that mean?
Well, I think actually, it's maybe not everything freezes, but he is kind of right though, isn't he? Isn't like the only thing that's certain is the inevitable heat death of the universe?
Well, I mean, I guess so, but that's not freezing. Like, a sun isn't going to freeze. Like, it's like...
it's a heat...
But it's also just like, it's
there's
so
no
tenuous.
Ice. There's going to be no ice.
No, and it's just like, it's such a tenuous pun. Like, it's sort of like, if you're going to make puns, make them good puns. Like, don't just throw out the shit.
No. That one at least that one had a little bit of nous about it. You think, like, this guy thinks he's really smart because he used to be a scientist or whatever. He still is, actually. The one I didn't like was the one 2 minutes later where he said, "What happened to the dinosaurs?" The Ice Age, and then he just starts shooting dinosaurs.
Shooting a model dinosaur.
It's like, okay, yes, technically that did happen to the dinosaurs, but what? Okay, is that meant to be?
What does that have to do with anything else that's happening here? You're zapping a model dinosaur. I guess it makes sense.
It doesn't, but it was a real weak pun for me.
It's awful. But, and it keeps happening.
Although that wasn't the stupidest thing that happened in the opening scene. The stupidest thing that happened, in my opinion, is the go-go gadget ice skates on the bottom of Robin and Batman's boots.
Oh, those were amazing! What a fortuitous bit of design.
Alfred, you've outdone yourself, mate.
Yeah. Did he know? It was like, they're going up against Mr. Freeze, who is yet another character who has never been mentioned in this series, and then is implied to have been active for some time at the beginning of this movie.
Well, Alfred has outdone himself, and he also multiple times throughout this movie, he does have some sort of premonition in terms of suits. I don't know why he's got. I think I could show up to the Bruce Wayne.
Everyone gets one.
Yeah, I think whoever shows up, he's always like, I've got your measurements in the system.
I took the liberty, sir, and then like just hands you a fucking weaponized superhero costume.
Not
and
just one, two. I'm pretty sure the second one she was wearing at the end when they all had the same colors on, Batgirl, was a different suit. So he actually. Not only did he know she was going to want to be a superhero, he also knew that she needed to tie in thematically while fighting an ice villain. Yeah,
you've got to get the colors right. Otherwise you'll just look like there's no uniformity between the outfits. You'll look ridiculous. So okay, I mean, where to begin? But with the two kind of dueling introductions of our characters here, and I think you are right that they kind of learn the lesson of Batman Forever by having, I guess, competent introductions to the characters. So Mr. Freeze, we get all of these puns. Then we get, in the space of like literally like 5 minutes, we get ice tank, dinosaur, rocket ship, him saying that your heart freezes at 30,000 feet, which I don't think is true either. But I mean, I'm not a
Why would
I'm
the
not a
inside
scientist.
of you freeze first?
Yeah, I don't understand. Maybe your blood freezes. I don't think it's 30,000 feet though. That sounds wrong to me. Then they surf in the sky. Robin is frozen, and then boiled. A model of Chris O'Donnell is boiled alive to thaw him while Mr. Freeze makes his escape. An unbelievable, just a tour de force of it, of shitty like action set pieces in the beginning, and then we jump from that to what is essentially a Naked Gun sketch where like the bad guy United Nations are bidding on supervillain formula being sold to them by like the crazy doctor guy who Poison Ivy works for.
Lionel Luthor from Smallville.
Oh, yes, absolutely, yeah. And he creates Bane, and you've just got like, I don't even know who it would be. I don't know if like Idi Amin was still around at this point, but it's like Idi Amin and like Yasser Arafat and whatever. These like, there's, I don't even know if they're supposed to be real people, but it's like sort of suspicious looking sub-Saharan African military man and guy dressed like an oil sheik or something. Just generally tasteless stereotypes, like watching this super soldier thing be performed.
Although I will say about the super soldier experiment being performed there, I said it about like Batman's cape and stuff in CG. Weirdly, really well done. How this guy was growing into Bane. I said it while we were watching it to Emma. I said, well, this film in '97 had the balls that Captain America didn't have in the late 2000s.
Well, to show the
transformation, and it actually looked good.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad, I think. I mean, there definitely is some CGI in this movie, cough, Arnold Schwarzenegger's frozen tear cough, that does not look good. But we'll get to that when we get to it. But the Bane transformation, you're absolutely right. It looked pretty good. And one thing I have to mention, Bane isn't really a character in this movie. He's just like a heavy who goes around like grunting like a zombie occasionally. But he is played by, in his transformed state, is played by the amazingly named Jeep Swenson is the name of the actor who played him. Which I feel like if your name is Jeep, you kind of have to be a weightlifter. Like you've got no other choice than to commit to bodybuilding as a as a hobby.
Well, I think he was a professional wrestler. Actually, I don't know how.
He looked like he definitely has the body of a professional wrestler. And there is, spoilers for later, there's another little cameo from a professional wrestler in this that I'll be interested to see if you spot it or not.
Okay, interesting. I don't know.
It was a blink and you'll miss it one, but I was like, it's more about the voice. I'll give you that hint now and see if you can figure out who it was. But so in this scene, Uma Thurman, I don't actually know Poison Ivy's character's name. I can't remember it, but she joins the long list, and it is a long list at this point, of naive characters who tell the truth to someone who is obviously about to kill them. So you've got Catwoman, like really putting her foot in it with Max Schreck in Batman Returns. You've got Edward Nygma's boss kind of like turning him down while he's strapped to a chair and calling him an idiot. It's like, come on, he's obviously going to kill you. Just like lie to him. And now you've got Poison Ivy, who's like, I'm not going to go along with your super soldier plans. I want to protect the plants, and then gets killed and comes back via the super soldier serum and the plant like kind of formula that she's created as Poison Ivy. So those are your introductions. I don't think either of them are particularly good. Was there anything that stood out to you about those though?
No, except I suppose maybe not really the introduction, but whenever Poison Ivy sort of gets introduced to Gotham, I suppose, and like her whole plan is that she wants to save the planet, and then Bruce Wayne's like, excuse me, how's this ever going to happen? You know, and he picks fairly picks a few holes in her plan, but then doesn't say, but you've got some good ideas. I do believe the world should be, whatever. Maybe we'll meet next time, or I'll take this anyway. Maybe you've got a few good ideas. It's a bit extreme for me, but we'll work on it. No, he just points and laughs at her. The whole room laughs at her. Yeah, and they're like, capitalism.
It's such an unprofessional press conference. Like they all just burst out laughing at her. It's like this. she might not have ideas that you agree with, but don't just openly laugh at her like in this.
Yeah,
in this,
I will point out as well, this was happening before she said that people dying were casualties that it would need to be made. I mean, obviously at that point you are thinking, okay, she's a bit extreme, but
yeah.
She has to have those extreme views to turn into a bad guy. So, in that regard, maybe very well done.
Yeah, she does sort of start off as like, oh, honestly, I'm kind of on her side with this one. But
she starts off like that. Also, Freeze. This is the whole thing. Freeze's story as well. I'm like, actually, it's both of them in this film. It is very much a case of I kind of see what they're doing and I agree with them.
Yeah.
And they're empathetic to a certain point, but the methods I disagree with. That's
well. So I mean, let's talk about Mr. Freeze then. So we go from these two introductions to an amazing introduction to his backstory played via like a video clip that Batman and Robin and Alfred are watching, which shows Arnold Schwarzenegger working at a terminal with an enormous vat of liquid nitrogen just behind him, and then the terminal zaps him or something and he just falls into the vat of liquid nitrogen.
Yeah.
It's just someone should have seen that happening, guys. Like, that was obviously a security risk. Like, come on.
He didn't get the memo of of the Joker from 7 years earlier or whatever.
Yeah.
We gotta put lids on our vats, guys.
Don't stand next to unsecured vats of chemicals. Like, you're gonna fall in. It's only a matter of time. And wouldn't you know it, he does, and it's revealed to us that he has been trying to work on a cure for a condition that his wife has or had.
McGregor syndrome.
Yeah, McGregor's syndrome, which we don't actually know. I believe at this point in the movie you don't actually know that she's still alive, but you find out very quickly because it cuts to Mr. Freeze in the present day trying to get his cronies to sing as a choir, which is just a weird introduction to like that character. Trying to get them to sing as a choir and then revealing that his suit is powered by diamonds. I don't know how that works. I'm not a scientist. Maybe there is a way to power a suit via diamonds, but he just pops a couple of diamonds in and he's good as new.
It's because apparently they multiply the freeze effect. I don't really get the science.
Something refraction, something freeze effect. Listen, I'm not here to make sense of Joel Schumacher's ideas, all right? I'm simply here to report them back to you.
Oh, I will say the mention of the diamond though, the mention of the diamond is my second favorite mention of a diamond in a movie, because he does say diamond very funny. The first sort of piece of diamond dialogue, which in my film, my favorite diamond moment, is not as funny, and it's Digimon Hansu's delivery of the line, where is the diamond in Blood Diamond? Very powerful, very emotional. Not quite on the same level.
The same tone.
Yeah, not quite the same tone as this one, but still just as great.
I mean, similar though, because he plans to go and steal a big diamond from Bruce Wayne that is going to be used for a system of satellites and mirrors that will do a thing, and he wants to steal it because once he has enough power from a diamond, he can cure his wife, I think.
No, you've misunderstood. Konrad, come on. It's very simple. He wants to freeze the whole of Gotham so that they fund his research.
Is it just a threat? Oh, yeah, okay, fine. Because I knew he resorted to freezing Gotham later on, but I missed that.
At the beginning, it was meant to be a threat. Yeah, it was just meant to get funding.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm the idiot here, guys. Right. So, okay. That's his plan. He also, I just wanted to mention this because I found it really funny. Vivica Fox plays his kind of sexy assistant lady. She was Will Smith's wife in Independence Day and was also in Kill Bill. And her character's name is Miss Behaven, which I was like, that's a great name.
Is Kill Bill before this or after this, or
no? Kill Bill was 2003, I think. So that was 6 years after
Vivica Fox and Uma Thurman capturing that Batman and Robin magic.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't blame Quentin Tarantino for watching this and being like, Uma Thurman, she could play like a femme fatale because she does have, I don't like to objectify anyone in these movies, but she definitely has a very kind of sexy introduction at the ball that she attends, which Mark it off your bingo cards if you've got one, folks.
There is a ball.
There is a
ball
ball that Batman and Robin are in attendance for, where there's like some diamond that they're auctioning off for. Or no, they're just showing off the diamond and they're auctioning off women for some reason. I don't. It's very like.
I think they started auctioning off women because Uma Thurman came in and said, you'll get a date with me if you buy this diamond because.
No, but they were bidding on them before she shows up.
Oh, okay. There we go.
All the women are flowers, and there's men who are like, "I'll bid $500,000 for the tulip."
I don't understand why scriptwriters in Hollywood don't understand. Like, they don't get how auctions work. I don't care if someone is got some love dust on them. They wouldn't forget that if someone bids 100,000, you just bid 110. You don't go to a 500.
Go straight to like a million.
Even though they're love drunk from this powder, it doesn't mean they forget the sense of bidding.
Just like bid sensibly, guys. You can go up to 1 million if push comes to shove, but don't go straight to 1 million. Like come on.
That was Batman's fault. He went to 1 million, and then Robin.
Well, I mean,
Batman's money.
That didn't make any sense at all. Like Batman and Robin competing when Robin has no money, and then obviously the iconic moment where Batman produces the Bat credit card. If you didn't realize the movie was jumping the shark, that was surely the moment where I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be that kind of movie. Then right, this is fucking stupid. I have jumped over something here, which is just to say that. We mentioned it last week. I have to mention it this week. Alicia Silverstone is introduced to us before this happens as Alfred's niece, I think. And she's here. It's not really clear why she's here. She's kind of like, oh, I'm here in my holidays from Oxbridge Technical University or whatever it's called. Where she's
what I find hilarious about that? And maybe people not from the UK wouldn't know this, but Oxbridge is actually the name given to the two universities together. So Oxbridge, you would talk about like Oxbridge being Oxford and Cambridge, which is hilarious to me because this really, really sparks to me of like someone in America writing and they're like, oh my God, I'm so clever. I've just amalgamated Oxford and Cambridge. It
really annoyed me when I'm sure it's in the comics or whatever. It's probably Bob Kane's fault. But like, it really annoyed me when they said that. I was like, wait, Oxbridge? Do you mean as in she goes to Oxford and Cambridge, or is Oxbridge just a made up place? And
No. The Oxbridge is actually like what they call the two universities because they're like head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah. It's like the kind of it's just a short a kind of audio shorthand for naming those two universities. But maybe she goes to both of them. Maybe
I think she said it was very strange as well because she said her parents passed away, so of course she's an orphan. She's gonna be a superhero. That's how these films work. Yeah. So, but the thing is, she said, and Uncle Alfred. Also, can we talk about Uncle Alfred? Right?
He's not her uncle.
What's he like? 85?
He was 85 when they made this movie. Alicia Silverstone, I checked, was 20 years old when she made this.
She's playing like a 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is the maths doesn't add up there. Now, I'm not shaming old or young parents. Whatever age you want to be when you have a child, if you can financially, if you can support that child, if you lovingly support that child, fine, do it. But we're talking about a nearly 70-year difference here.
Yeah, it's unlikely. It's unlikely. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's unlikely.
I mean, it depends how old Milfred is, or whatever the fuck his brother that's never been mentioned before is called.
Yeah, Wilfred. Yeah,
Wilfred. That's it.
But that's not her dad though. That's not her dad. Her mother is Peggy. Peg.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Peg. So, you can't think too hard about the age difference because it frankly doesn't make any sense. But the thing I wanted to mention is something that you very astutely identified last week when we were talking about Batman Forever, which is that Chris O'Donnell is thankfully playing a minor in this because the first thing his character, Dick Grayson, does when he opens the door and finds Alicia Silverstone's character sort of prying through a window is said, oh, I hope you're here for me, which it is an odd thing to see a man who was close to 30 by the point of this movie saying about a girl who was supposed to be about 14 at this point.
Not as awkward as the butt and boob shots we got during the dress-up scene at the end.
Oh, the ultimate dress-up sequence with the nipples on everyone's suits is
very subtle on hers, though, I will say. Free the nipple.
Very tasteful. a very tasteful nipple on the Batgirl suit, which I think we can all agree added to the the production design and the ambiance of the movie. Something actually I wanted to ask you about. I kind of ragged on Batman Forever a bit last week for saying it's kind of abandoned like the gothic Burton-esque expressionistic city design, and I feel like I wrote this in a review I did in my letterbox, and it is a joke, but I think it might actually be serious, or it might actually be true. I feel like between making Batman Forever and this, someone showed Joel Schumacher Metropolis, because there's none of the like Art Deco Metropolis kind of stuff in Batman Forever, and then this you've got Art Deco skyscrapers, you've got skyways, you've got like these enormous statues, like
what's
all
that
of
about?
that is back, and it's great. I love it, but it's just like either someone said to him, "Oh, you need to bring all of that shit back because that's the shit people like from the Tim Burton movies," or he watched Metropolis and was like, "Oh, this is cool. I'm going to do this," and forgot that Tim Burton did it already in the first two movies. But it just really stuck out to me. Like there's a moment where they're like chasing Mr. Freeze, and they're literally riding along the arm of an enormous statue.
Yeah.
Thousands of meters above the streets of Gotham, and it's like, this wouldn't have been in Batman Forever. This doesn't make it. This is nothing like that.
But even at that moment, even they couldn't. The stupid script writing. Why on earth does Mr. Freeze's like van, basically a bus he's driving, make the jump? But Batman's like to Robin on a motorbike. You're not gonna make it. You're not. He's on a motorbike. He's much more likely to make it.
Yeah, he's much lighter and has great acceleration, and is far more dangerous for you to like lock his brakes up meters from the edge than it is to just let him make the jump. To be honest, like you've all got like suits. You can fly if worst comes to worst, or surf through the sky on bits of metal like you did in the. We've seen you do it. We know it's possible.
Very Pierce Brosnan-esque,
So, as that scene comes to its conclusion, as this chase across the kind of gothic skyscrapers of Gotham reaches its conclusion, Mr. Freeze at one point, I didn't actually write down when he says it, but he gives us another classic, another zinger, where he just says, "It's a cold town," and it's like, what does that mean? It's not a pun. It doesn't like it's. Chicago, or not Chicago, Gotham is like feels like an analog of Chicago, and that's the Windy City. But I don't know. It's a cold town. What does that mean?
My town.
We'll do that one day. What's the name of that movie for anyone listening who doesn't recognize it?
Windy City Heat.
Windy City Heat. That's it. That is a great movie.
This is Windy City Cold.
Yeah, Windy City Cold. It's a cold town. So, Mr. Freeze is taken to Arkham. And this is the moment when I wasn't sure if you'd recognise that Jesse the Body Ventura is one of his guards at Arkham Asylum.
Oh my god!
It's amazing. He only gets like two
before
lines.
the mayoral run.
Just about, I think. Yeah, I think his. Oh, was he governor? I can't remember what he was, but he was. I think that was like 2000 or something.
Governor Ventura. You're right. Oh my god, Konrad! I've got something I need to talk to you about, right? Because I don't know when the right time to bring this up was.
Okay.
But what is with Batman's eye holes in this film? All right.
Oh, they're wild.
Like his eye holes on his suit, they look like they've been designed for a completely different actor. They are massive. They're like the size.
They're huge.
They're both the size of an egg, or even bigger. And then there's so much black paint on George Clooney's face.
Yeah.
But the thing is, his eyes are like right at the edge of the hole. So therefore, he looks so doofy running around.
Yeah, he does.
He looks cross-eyed all the time.
My thinking is that they wanted to try and get like some of his brow into the shot so he could emote with his eyes, and that would maybe capture the campness or the goofiness or whatever. But it just looks ridiculous. Like it's like, I mean, I know that Batgirl and Robin for that matter wear the shittest disguises anyone's ever seen. Like there's a bit later in this movie where Alicia Silverstone turns up with her, tiny little a strip of fabric across her eyes and says, "It's me," and whatever, and no one recognizes her, and we're to believe that this is an accurate, like we're just to accept that no one recognizes her, which whatever. Superman does dumb stuff like that as well. I can't floor it. I can't floor it's not the right word. I can't criticize it too much for that. But George Clooney's his appearance it's so, firstly, it's so obviously him, and secondly, it just looks bad. It just looks silly, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah, and we mentioned as well, like, this also even the suit design of just him just being like a naked man with a cape. Very strange suit design. You know how last film we had also the gymnastic skills hanging the laundry on the line moment?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So we, funnily enough, we should have had that in this. There was no real moment to show why Alicia Silverstone can fight. No. And then she becomes Batgirl and starts beating up Uma Thurman. I don't know. We could have used some sort of laundry training scene. You know,
maybe... there was nothing. Like, she's a hacker. Like, so we see towards the end of the me, we see her hack into the Bat computer. She hacks into the Bat computer
after 20 guesses.
After 20 guesses, I love when she hacks into the Bat. When she hacks.
She's a hacker.
Into the Bat computer, and it's first off, the first thing that opens up is like schematics of the Batmobile, which is like, come on, like, don't at least hide that away in a folder somewhere, or, you know, password protect it. But then not only is it schematics, but there's just shitty low resolution JPEGs of like the Batmobile just scrolling across the screen as well.
Alfred really wanted to, whoever got into that computer. What I think's funny is every time Alfred logs into that disk, he has to like put up with that. You know what I mean? Like, he has to put up with all of this stuff. He's like, okay, I've seen it. Okay, hurry up. It's like, I
just want to send an email to my brother in India. Like, please stop. This is
such
really,
a long
really
boot up. Such a long boot. Like.
So I mean, the reason is that he probably doesn't have time to sort out his desktop because he's busy building a perfect AI of himself in the Batcave, which turns up later in the movie. So, whistle-stop tour of the plot then, just to bring us up to speed.
Alfred, you mentioned the AI, Konrad, and I'm going to do the annoying thing where I stop you, right? Because
let me do the plot up until the AI, and then we can talk about it. Because I want to talk about the AI, but I've skipped so much. So okay. Alfred has McGregor syndrome. Yeah. There's a weird scene where George Clooney forgets that he's in a really dumb camp movie, and they try to do like an emotional "I'll save you, Alfred" moment. It's like, what kind of movie is this? This is not an appropriate scene for this movie. There's a CGI tear on Arnold. There's a motorbike neon paint gang gathering featuring Coolio. Yeah. And then we get to this hacking sequence. So go on, tell me about your thoughts on the Alfred AI, or should I say Alfred AI? Because that's a sign that it's an AI, is that its voice glitches sometimes.
Right. My point is that it's much more advanced than you think it is. It's not just an AI. It's actually, they must be using the Edward Nygma technology from the previous film, because somehow
that's what they did with it.
Somehow this AI is also beamed into Alfred's head, because when he finally comes around from his MacGruber syndrome or whatever he's got, right, when he comes around from that and then walks out into the room, he's like, thanks to you all saved me. It's like, how do you know that, Alfred? How do you know that your niece is now
he just assumed. He assumed she'd figure it out at some point. It was like it was only a matter of time until she hacked in. Like his password was 3 letters.
That was actually just the AI. That wasn't Alfred anymore. He's like, Alfred actually died, and he's just
a projection like Rimmer and Red Dwarf. God, that would be a much better movie if he just turned into a hologram.
Also, if he made this AI which would do his job for him, then why did he need to send the disc to his brother?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. And also, I mean, this is kind of an aside at this point, but if you are in charge of all of the schematics for a superhero's like technical data, don't make have a better password than Peggy. Like that's not a good password. There's no numbers, there's no special characters.
I mean, if you're trying to crack that with a simple like alphabetic crack, that's just 26 to the power of 3 and you're in. Like that's
exactly.
That's terrible.
It's easy to do. So okay, we get then the suit up moment before they all come back, where Batgirl gets an outfit that AI Alfred says that he's made for her, and we get the reveal of the Bat swamp boat thing that Robin is riding. Batgirl gets like a motorbike. Is it like she's got one of those boats with like the enormous fan behind it?
Yeah,
I know, like Louisiana or whatever.
When I went to Louisiana, I was really annoyed we didn't go on our swamp tour on one of those, but they cost like way more than the normal boat.
Oh, that's a shame. I would love to go on one of those, but yeah, if it was expensive, I probably wouldn't have done it either. And yeah, Batman gets like I don't know what you call it. It's like a jet. It's like a rocket powered sled or something. Like it's a very niche bit of equipment.
Yeah, at this point in the film, I'm finding it hard to differentiate between all the vehicles. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how Alfred was making them all. Like,
no, I mean they do say in Batman Forever that he's a bit of a mechanic, so that's kind of the way they handle.
Where's his room though? Like, where are they rising from? Like, it never shows the cave. We're going to need a bigger cave.
And why does he have a ski? Like, why is that necessary when you operate in a city? Like, it's just so niche. Get the rocket powered sled. The streets are frozen over, just as we always expected.
I mean, yes, it is stupid, but is it as stupid as Robin's rubber lips, which he takes off right after being kissed by Poison Ivy?
Yeah,
just completely 3 inches from her face, completely revealing his lips to her.
So that entire scene, like, that's really the only arc that Batman and Robin get, is they like compete for Poison Ivy's affections. Robin gets jealous and he gets kind of punked out again. He gets tossed into some goop at one point.
Didn't get any superhero powers for it.
No, he didn't get any superpowers from that, which is a real shame. I'm sure he was kind of fingers crossed, like this is a good one. But it turned out it was just goo of some description.
Just goop.
And in that scene, so the bad guys, while all this has been going on, Mr. Freeze has made an alliance with Poison Ivy for some reason. They need to get the diamond. It's unclear what they really stand to gain from it. In that scene where Robin goes to see Poison Ivy, she kisses him. He takes off the plastic lips. Robin gets tossed into the water. Batgirl turns up to fight Poison Ivy, and there's a real girl boss moment. There is a moment in that scene where Robin he emerges from the water, gasps for breath, and then is pulled back down. And I watched it 5 times to double check this is correct. And literally, it's half of the clip, and they just reverse it at the halfway point. So his head comes up, there's a couple of frames pause, and then the clip is reversed and he just goes down again. And I cannot believe that made it into a Hollywood production. It's like one of the, like, if I'm spotting that, there's no way that other people aren't. It was unbelievable that they put that in like a movie that cost as much as this.
Oh my god, I didn't notice that at all. I gotta watch that now.
Awful. But anyway, so yeah, they fight Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is busy freezing Gotham, and they manage to use this satellite system to be like, it's morning in the Congo. Let's get the sunlight, and we'll steal Congo's sunlight, I guess, and we'll unfreeze Gotham. And they manage to do it eventually. There's a redemption arc for Mr. Freeze as he reveals that he can cure Mr. McGregor's as he can cure Alfred's McGregor's syndrome.
Yeah.
And we end happily with Alfred revealing to the Bat trio that he is alive and well, and Mr. Freeze is made the cellmate of Poison Ivy at Arkham, which I have several questions about. So first off, why would they knowingly put them together? Because they're obviously going to try and kill each other. And secondly, why does Mr. Freeze I know he's had a redemption, but he's still in prison. Why does he get his suit in prison?
That's true. He just have a cold room.
Yeah, I mean, they proved with the Jesse the Body Ventura room that they can just give him like a beam of cold air somehow in the middle of the room.
just give him a thicker beam with the thing in place. Konrad, this is the problem with this film, right? It can be summed up with this little thing, and I can see I need the production lights here because I'm getting a bit dark over here, guys. Sorry about that. What I can say is that it can be summed up with, there was a character in this film that existed purely because Joel Schumacher wanted to hang around with Elle Macpherson for a few weeks.
I forgot Ellie Macpherson was in this as well.
Why Joel Schumacher just wanted to hang around with Elle Macpherson for a couple of weeks, and so he cast her as Batman's girlfriend, and I think she has like 2 lines. Like, what's the point of that character?
There is a lot. There's a moment in this where I think it's where Poison Ivy first confronts Bruce Wayne, and like the kind of like tabloid journalist asks Bruce Wayne about marriage, and Ellen McPherson's there with him, and George Clooney's delivery of is literally like marriage. Well, I don't. Do you want to help me out? And it's just the most wooden delivery I've ever heard, and. Then Ellie McPherson says, we're madly in love and we're happy for now, which doesn't sound convincing at all. And then she's in another scene where she says she's not prepared to wait around forever. And that's all her character does in this movie. And I don't understand why she's in it. It's just irrelevant.
Batman's got to have a girlfriend to be tempted away from by Poison Ivy.
We've got to make sure Batman gets some in every movie. Yeah. Otherwise, people are going to ask questions about him.
I have seen George Clooney be a good actor in things.
Yeah, he can be a good actor.
Okay, a brother out there, Men Who Stare at Goats. There's great performances from him in the past. Why is he so bad in this?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't get anything from his performance, like
nothing.
To say that he was like infatuated with Uma Thurman. Or at least Chris O'Donnell was doing a good job of it. And then when Chris O'Donnell's like, I love her, it's just you're so jealous or whatever, and he's like, I love her too. That's the problem. And I was like, what do you? Because I haven't seen this in your performance whatsoever. Like
Chris O'Donnell and Alicia Silverstone are wooden, but they seem to at least be trying. Whereas George Clooney is like, he feels like he's just phoning this entire performance in, which I don't know. Maybe he was instructed to do it because that's like funny in a like we've made a bad movie kind of way. But I think it just comes across as just nonsense. It just comes across as like just confusing nonsense. But okay, right. Now comes the moment where we have to decide on a rating for this movie. What are you going to give Batman and Robin?
I'm actually going to just stick to 2-star. So I'm going to have it be the same. Again, I think you're talking way like 1-star films. I don't actually go for 0-star films. Maybe I do. Maybe there exists one. But
never say never. Yeah.
Never say never. But 1-star for me has got to be unwatchable. And this, I made it through the film, so it is terrible, but I did make it through, so it's 2-star.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-star movie, though it was clinging on to that by its fingernails for me, because like it's also like over 2 hours long, which is outrageous for a movie like this to be that long. Like it was boring, but there were enough bits of it that I liked, and the production design was really on point for this. Like the Gotham kind of setting was really back to being cool again in this. So yeah, I think 2 stars works for me as well, which is going to lead us very naturally onto the one simple question that we always ask at the end of this, which is, Anthony, what is your favourite movie this week?
MasterChef, The Professionals.
Is that a movie?
No, it's not at all. I've been watching a lot. It's a reality cooking show. At this point, you're allowed to say whatever you want. I can't check it. I've no way of fact checking. Yeah, I know. I've been watching a lot of MasterChef, The Professionals, so let's say Ratatouille.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a very thematically appropriate answer. Yeah. I'm going to say Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe, because that's the only good film I've ever seen Chris O'Donnell in. I think he's bad in everything that he's ever made.
Although I will say I haven't seen it yet, but go and watch The Northman, everyone. You may see a familiar name in there. My wife Emma worked on the costumes, so she'll be in the credits.
Yeah, I actually haven't told you this in real life, but me and my partner went to see The Northman, and we stayed till the end because I was like, let's wait for Emma's name in the credits. We saw her. She was there.
Brilliant.
I pointed at the screen. I was like, I know that person.
Yeah.
It's also a very good movie, so yeah, people should go check out The Northman.
Awesome.
Would you say it's a better movie than Batman and Robin?
I haven't seen it. That's the thing.
You haven't seen it? Yeah, that's right.
Emma went to see it at a special screening with all the crew, and so therefore we just haven't got a babysitter yet to go see it. So hopefully in the next few days, hopefully. Well,
I hope you enjoy it more than Batman and Robin, because I can say from my point of view, I thought it was significantly better than Batman and Robin. And that is going to do it for us here on the Best Movie Podcast ever, I think. Thank you to Nancy Wyatt and Jared Iscariot for the use of our theme song. You can find links to their stuff down in the description below, and thank you to you for listening. Please consider subscribing if you're not already. We're the Best Movie Podcast ever on podcasting apps and the Culture Cave on YouTube. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think of Batman and Robin. Are you a Batman? Are you a Robin? Are you a Batgirl? You can be whichever one you want to be. But
Batgirl, not very PC, Konrad.
No, not PC at all, as Batman rightly observes. But regardless of which one you are, we will see you same time, same place next week.
Bye.